Welcome into another edition of the DNVR Rams podcast presented by our friends at Branded Bills. Head to brandedbills.com, use your code BBDNVR for 15% off your first order. We are live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. I'm stoked, y'all. This is one of the best lineups we've ever had in 6 years of this show. Couldn't have had a more interesting and diverse lineup in terms of what we're going to talk about. But we're starting off today with CSU Volleyball coach Emily Kohan. We'll also have John Weber and Jay Norvell later on in the show. Just first things first, how's your summer? And thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks. This is exciting. Summer is always a much needed little break. We do a lot of camps and things, but it's a little slower time for us as fall sports. And by the end of it, you're ready to gear up. And I was able to go to Alaska with my family. My husband's from Alaska, so that was our little family vacation.
What do you do up there?
They're from Juneau, a lot of fishing, a lot of boat stuff, a lot of camping. And so I'm really not that type of person. So it's good for me to go up and just kind of unplug and be away.
So are you like, you got to be like a comfort camper? Like, nah.
I'm definitely a glamper. Yeah.
I don't blame you. Like I said, thank you so much for coming on. We've been meaning to have you on for a while now. I go back to a couple years ago, when you first were introduced as head coach, obviously massive shoes to fill, taking over from Tom Hilbert, but you talked a lot about really embracing that and, kind of taking pride and getting to, take the reins of a program of the caliber of CSU Volleyball. I guess just a couple of years in, how do you feel you're doing? And what have you kind of learned about yourself along the way?
Yeah, I mean, what an honor to take over a program like CSU Volleyball. And I'm a Colorado kid, right? I grew up in Swink, Colorado, in southeast Colorado. And my grandpa played football at CSU, and my dad and brother went to CSU. And I grew up in this Rams household. And so not only is it a program that was home for me, but it was also one of the greatest volleyball programs in the country. And so, I mean, what a no-brainer opportunity to be excited about and to continue to build on the traditions and build on the success. And as the environment of college athletics has shifted and changed, and I feel like every week something new is a challenge for us to continually make CSU volleyball nationally important.
I definitely have some questions for you about the evolution of the game. And I mean, there's a lot of different elements to that, the portal, but even just the general level of athleticism you see with some of these players. I mean, it's become such an explosive game. Do you feel like the portal has been more beneficial or detrimental for a program like CSU? It's probably a little bit of both, but...
Yeah. I'm kind of like emotionally neutral on the portal. I think there's players that leave our program and you're sad that they left, and there's players that come into your program and they're some of your favorite players you've ever coached.
Yeah.
And so, we graduated Emery Herman, our setter, last year, who was a transfer for us, and she was really one of the greatest players to ever set in Moby Arena. And there's been some great players setting in Moby Arena, right? And so again, emotionally neutral on it, but it is a tool that is not going anywhere, and it's something you have to be aware of and navigate retaining your team. If you want to retain certain players, you got to work at it now. And so I've been grateful that, again, from a resource perspective and just the way Moby Arena is packed and how great it is to live in Fort Collins, it's a pretty great destination program, and we're getting good players that want to come here and compete for championships.
Is there more pressure given your CSU ties? Like, in some ways, just you have the emotional attachment. It's not just a job. This is a program that's deep rooted in who you are and who your family is.
Yeah, that's funny. My mom was one that was like, just don't mess it up and embarrass us. And so I'm proud, though. I have two daughters that are young. They're 4 and 2. And to be in a place where my parents get to care for them and they get to be in the stands with my sister and my husband, and like the whole family's in there. And it makes, when the losses happen or a hard game really happens, I got my whole family to go home too, that really at the core of it doesn't really care if I win or lose. They do want to win, but yeah, I think that makes it extra special though, is that those celebrations. My dad was really emotional again as a CSU alum when we won the championship, and he was in Moby when I got to hold up my first trophy as a head coach, and it was one of my most favorite moments to share, I guess, with him as an alum who also went to those volleyball games.
Yeah. Last year, some challenges early on in the season probably didn't go the way you guys were hoping, but you obviously finished really strong. You win the conference championship. In some ways, was that one maybe even more rewarding than some of the years where you guys just cruise and, go like 30-2 or something like that?
Yeah, I've been really intentional in scheduling that. I want to have some challenging matches early on. Mm-hmm. It does come with some lumps sometimes if your team's not quite ready to go play against some of those teams, but I think it makes us better. It makes us understand what we're trying to build towards come November and December. And I was really proud of the way we played Texas A&M in our NCAA tournament game. I mean, they were one of the top 15 teams in the country, and we were toe to toe. And there's a couple points if they would have swung differently, right? We're playing the next round, and I think because we played some challenging teams and had some bumps earlier on, it helped mold us together to work towards what that November team was going to look like.
Is there more pressure given that traditionally the Mountain West has been more of a one bid league? Does that factor into it as well? Like, we kind of have to prove ourselves here because we're not going to get the benefit of the doubt necessarily.
Yeah, I'm really involved in like our AVCA, our coaches committee, different subcommittees, and one of them is the NCAA tournament selection group that decides those at-large bids, and more and more emphasis is, hey, what kind of preseason are you scheduling, and are you taking some risks in it? And there's a lot of great teams around the country that want to come to Moby Arena, right? When we beat Kentucky in my first year, and the Kentucky coach was like, this is one of the most unbelievable environments I've been around, and I've played at a lot of cool places. And so the word is out that Moby Arena is rocking for our preseason games and our whiteouts. And so it's been fun to kind of curate that non-con schedule to challenge them and hopefully have upsets, because when you do beat a Washington this year or an Oregon or a Notre Dame, right, that the NCAA selection committee really takes into account that you challenged your team to go and do those things.
A couple of years ago, I asked you about, it was right when Nebraska was doing their outdoor game in the football stadium, and you talked about how you and Tom had actually, had very similar conversations when Canvas Stadium opened. I'm just curious, coming off of a year in which you guys have set a record for average attendance, is that something that's still a possibility maybe? Like, has there been any traction with that in the future?
I love our admins, like innovative, curious, let's go do things that haven't been done. And so they toss around great new ideas all the time, right? Is it an outdoor game? Is it, as we move away from Wyoming and conference, the highest altitude volleyball game ever played, or, something like that. And so I want to continue to find like new innovative ways to get our fans excited about coming out to watch our team. And the conversations are always ongoing with admin. They're really great about those new ideas.
We've seen just a massive boom in general with women's sports these last couple of years. Are you noticing that maybe some places you used to go in the past where they didn't have the support like a CSU, or are you kind of starting to see that change in some of these other schools?
Yeah, I mean, we have the Caitlin Clark effect. I'm a Hawkeye. I went to Iowa, so it's been really fun to watch Caitlin Clark for women's basketball and really all women's sports get people excited about how a brand can be built for a female athlete that is really good at her craft. And we watched volleyball records all over the country get kind of broken last year as that game gets more and more noticed for the high pace. It's super athletic now. Our girls are big and dynamic, and they hit really hard, and it is the most played high school sport for females. Okay. And so there's a lot of little young fans out there that are excited to start coming to those college arenas. So I love the fact that we set a Moby record and continually wanting to build on that.
What's been the biggest challenge that you've encountered so far since taking over the program?
Oh, biggest challenge. I mean, I think with the transfer portal and NIL and rev share kind of things is learning new skills to retain your players, right? Yeah. And I feel very honored that volleyball matters at CSU, and our admin got ahead of the game with this. And, we have a general manager that we share with the two basketballs, and we were more prepared in this like shift when July 1st hit with the house case settlement than most of my peers across the country. And but to learn kind of the new skill sets of contracts and what's a going rate for an outside hitter in different places, like that's a very pro sports model. And pro volleyball is new to the United States. It's been in Europe, it's been in Asia, but for us, having really one of the best pro leagues in NCAA volleyball now, it's been a shift around the world for the young talent that wants to now come to the U.S.
What does the move to the Pac-12 mean for the future of CSU volleyball?
Yeah, I'm thrilled for the move to the Pac-12. I coached in the Pac-12 at Oregon State to start my coaching career, and we always sold the Pac-12 as the Conference of Champions, right? We as a volleyball institution in the Pac-12, there's a lot of legacy in there, and regardless of if some of those teams have left, the West Coast was kind of the home to women's volleyball for a lot of decades, and so to be able to rebuild the Pac-12, it's going to be a great volleyball conference. I think it'll be a multi-bid volleyball conference, and that's the kind of conference you want to play in to get you ready for November and December volleyball.
Last year, you had all these veterans to lean on. You got 9 newcomers this year.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, how are you seeing them, I guess, come together? And who are some of the names that, Ram fans should keep an eye on?
Yeah, I mean, we had 5 fifth-year seniors last year.
Yeah.
They all just got announced yesterday into the Walk of Champions. They were big players that our followers had loved for a long time. And, they set a great standard. We've been doing these leadership sessions for our young team and to talk about what leadership and captainship means with a bunch of young players. Those names keep coming up of here's what I learned from Kennedy Stanford and here's what Naima Weathers would do in these situations. So, when you graduate that super class, I think their legacy is felt for years to come on those younger players as they're kind of identifying what their leadership strategy is going to be. We could have 3 starting freshmen. Our freshman class is very good. And so that's been fun to watch the position battles and have it be more open than it's ever been, probably.
Is that scary, though? Like, it's exciting, but that's also like, oh, man, we're young.
Yeah, I think you'll go through lumps with young teams, right? They'll be amazing one night. They're not as consistent usually as your fifth years. But they also have so much excitement and they learn really quickly. And so that's been fun as a coach to watch the journey even over like a week or so to be like, look what little sponges they can be. And they're powerful, they're polished, and they're eager to make their mark. They decided to come to CSU in this year because that superclass was leaving and they could come onto the court as freshmen. And so I think the freshman class will be really exciting for the fans to watch over the next 4 or 5 years. And we have a transfer in Eve Wilson that is going to be incredible. Like, people are going to love her, and I think she'll be one of our best players. She was the conference freshman of the year her first year at High Point, and then last year was all conference again. And so I think she'll be somebody that's a huge presence out there offensively for us. And, Kekua Richards, our big 6'7" Hawaiian, has been waiting and developing behind those 2 middle blockers that graduated, and I think Kekua is going to be a fan favorite. She's spicy. She's a spicy little pickle. She's big, right? She's 6'7", and she really wants to be the next great middle blocker for CSU. So I'm excited for her to get out there and show that graduation doesn't mean our middle offense stops.
What would we don't have too much time left, but what would your pitch be to, let's say, a more casual sports fan who just, all I watch is football, or why should they invest in volleyball?
Yeah. Volleyball is really high paced. There's a point scored on average every 7 seconds. And so similar to like a basketball game, right? When I take my kids to basketball games, like there's somebody clapping and cheering every 7 seconds. And it's a really dynamic game. There's people diving on the floor and there's people jumping really high and that ball's traveling really fast. And so the speed of the game and how dynamic the athletes are being, I think make it really fun. And specifically when you come to Moby Arena, you're surrounded by a lot of people that are into it.
It's pretty
right?
epic.
So just your like sensory overload to be in that kind of exciting atmosphere, I think is really fun. So if you haven't been to Moby Arena, you should definitely come check it out and expect to have your socks blown off.
Got the whiteout against Notre Dame. I know you guys are doing alumni weekend. What's that going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, 50th year of CSU volleyball.
That's really cool.
And so we're celebrating, the 50 years on September 27th, where we will also be honoring Angela Knopf in the first ever Ring of Fame.
Yeah.
Right? She's the only volleyball player that will be in this new Ring of Fame concept. And but 27 championships in 50 years to be celebrated this September, I think is a pretty cool moment. So that one will be big, but the whiteout is one of college volleyball's greatest traditions. we get 8,300 people wearing white shirts and heckling that other team. And some of the best moments of the 50 years of CSU volleyball have been at those whiteout games. My favorite, my Kentucky upset, my opening debut match to beat number 10 Kentucky was a whiteout. And so looking to stick it back to Notre Dame, because we went to South Bend last year, didn't play so well. And it was a pretty strategic move to say, that's going to be the whiteout when you come back to us.
Give them a little taste of their medicine, hopefully. Emily, thank you so much for coming on. It's an honor to have you on the show. And obviously, I encourage everybody that's tuning in with us, get to Moby. Go check out some volleyball matches. Big things coming this year and beyond in the Pac-12. We're going to get John Weber on the show here in just a second. I do need to shout out a couple of our partners, and then we'll keep the action rolling. You can just switch if you want. Thank you so much. All right, I do want to shout out first our friends over at Game Time. If you were looking for FIFA World Cup tickets next year, there's no better option than with our partners at Game Time. You can get up to 10% off exclusive zone deals for FIFA World Cup matches. But the cool thing about Game Time is they've got tickets for everything. You can get on there and you can get some CSU Rams tickets. You can go check out Nikola Jokic. And what's really convenient about Game Time is they have the best deals at the best price, even if you're last minute. They make it so easy. They've got the lowest price guarantee. Take all of the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Coors Light encourages you to never lose your chill. Life's going to test you. I've talked about it a couple of times of late. Air conditioner in the house I bought about 6 months ago just went out. It is what it is, guys. And getting worked up is never going to help anything. You got to do the little things in life to put yourself in that chill state. Go out and walk the dog. Get a little bit of exercise. Whatever you've got to do to put yourself in that right frame of mind. Then, once you are chilling, when you're kicked back, you got your feet up, maybe you got the game on, crack open an ice-cold Coors Light when the mountains turn blue. Cold as the Rockies, Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smooth finish. Make the most out of the times you choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, we will have CSU football coach Jay Norvell on in just a little bit. Really thankful to CSU Athletics for including us in this little Denver trip. I'm thankful to Emily Kohan for giving us some of her time. And now we've got the head honcho, the big man himself coming on, CSU AD John Weber. I'm excited about it. John, if you want to come over here, we can get it going. A lot of stuff happening in CSU Rams country. I think this is as excited as I've been going into a fall in quite some time. But we also just had a pretty sweet summer. Canvas hosting, the PBR, successful first, big ticketed non-football event. What are your thoughts on how that all went, and just what could that mean for, the future of CSU in the facility?
Yeah. How about that? We're not just going to put on a concert. We're going to put 12 inches of dirt in the stadium and bring about 60 bulls into the stadium as well. It was that was a really, really fun time for us. The PBR folks were fantastic to work with, and super excited to bring them back again next year.
Are you surprised how smoothly it went? I mean, I've just heard glowing reviews. Like this was not a small operation that you pulled off.
It was not a small operation at all. It was very complicated, but you know what? That's what my team does for a living. That's what the PBR team does for a living, and we worked really, really well together. It went great.
How would you describe CSU's relationship with Under Armour? I saw earlier this week you guys went out to the headquarters. What's the purpose of that?
The purpose of that was just to go visit one of our key partners and understand a little bit more about who they are and what they're doing and where they're headed. We had an opportunity to go out there and tour their brand new facility that they just moved into in December, and learn a lot more of what they're doing on the innovation side of things. We're able to see things that we won't see in stores and teams that for another 2 years down the road, sort of thing. So it was a great trip, and it was well worth the trip for us to go out there.
Do you feel like they've done a good job of prioritizing CSU? I mean, look, like everybody is going to have their opinions on certain brands. Some people, I want Nike, I want Adidas, whatever. But I mean, I pointed out a bunch of times, it wasn't that long ago we were rocking Russell and didn't have very many options. And now we've got all these sweet alternates. And like, it seems like they've done a really good job of.
We're important to Under Armour, and Under Armour is important to us. So Really look forward to to working with them, and they've supported us in phenomenal ways in the past, and and I tell you what, when we need something, we pick up the phone and we get it, and that's a great relationship for us to be able to do that.
Any chance we could see any new type alternates or anything like that down the line?
No comment.
No comment. I get it. Can only say so much. You've been pretty open since taking over about, really wanting to strive for more and having big expectations. And, I meant when you introduced Ali for Oakmanesh, you talked about, we were a couple seconds from a Sweet 16 and that could be the floor, not the ceiling. How do you feel CSU as an institution is I guess, like, do you like where it's going and what you guys are doing to reach that goal? I mean, you did win 5 conference championships this past year.
We did. It was we had a great year last year, and someone else asked me that same similar question earlier today, and my first response was not satisfied.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what I'll tell you, that nothing moves the needle more for us as an institution than competing on the national stage and winning when we get there. So that's really the focus that we have. Every single one of our programs, is striving for more, is striving for championships. This is our last opportunity to put some Mountain West Conference trophies in the case, and we're going to do everything we can to collect as many of those as we can here in the next year and go into the Pac-12 with a full head of steam.
I understand every season's going to be different. There's going to be various factors, injuries, whatever, sure. Weird stuff can happen, but what do you look at when CSU football, for instance, like what would constitute a successful season to you, and what kind of factors into that?
So and you said you answered your own question a little bit there at the beginning, but what we all strive for is momentum and continuous improvement, and that takes many different forms and results in many different things. But what we're really after is how do we continue to build a program. And that goes, not just for Coach Norvell, but it goes for us as well. There's a lot of things that we're doing differently off the field now, in terms of how my direct team, how do we support our programs. So whether that's in the form of nutrition, whether that's in the form of some mental health support, there's a lot of things that we're doing behind the scenes that aren't making headlines that that are really, really important and really impactful on our programs.
I was fortunate to get an opportunity to speak with you a little bit out at Media Days, Jay Norvell as well. One of the things that I asked him was just like, do you feel that you and admin are on the same page in terms of your vision for the future of the program? And he said, you'd probably have to ask them that. So I'll pose that question to you. Do you feel that you and Jay have similar visions for what the program should be and are doing the things to get there?
We absolutely do. We both talk openly about how are we able to compete at the highest level? How do we win a championship in our conference? And how do we get into the CFP? And then when we get there, how do we advance? That in terms of what moves the needle more for our institution, championships does it. And I know he's hungry for one. We're all hungry for one. And, we're going to keep going until we get that done.
Like, it's no secret that football always is in the biggest spotlight. In some ways, does it even put like more pressure on football when all these other programs do, win titles and, it's been 2 decades for football?
Yeah. All of our programs are important. Certainly with football, it gets a significant more amount of coverage, more than other programs do. But we're committed to making sure that we've got an opportunity to win championships across the board.
I'd like to pitch an idea to you.
Let's go.
And you don't have to, say, like, oh, yes, we're doing it or not. But one of the things I've talked about, given the move to the Pac-12, yep. You're losing Air Force as an annual matchup. So you're losing a traveling trophy that's going to be in play every single year. I've talked about the potential of maybe CSU and Utah State, 80 matchups all time, 40-38 too. So it's been highly competitive, basically 500 each way. What do you think about it?
So there's a new AD. Actually, there's an interim AD at Utah State. It's an interesting concept. You're not the first that's talked about it. How about that?
I like it. I'm still going to take credit if it comes through. I just want you to know that. But
fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't know. I just thought, regional. It feels more in line of traditional college
there's
football.
Aggie roots for both the schools. So yes.
Interesting. Keep an eye out, Ram fans. That's not a yes, but it's not a no either. And again, we're going to give me the credit, even if it isn't really the truth. I know we don't have too much time here because we got to get Jay on the show as well, and you guys got to get back up north.
Yep.
But the move to the Pac-12 that was announced almost a year ago. Had you and Amy on, and obviously very excited at the time, and I think everybody is still very excited. But there's just been so much going on, and I know you can't talk about certain things, but just like, do you feel that the last year, the things that have been put into motion, is this going in the direction that you envisioned when you made the big move?
Yeah, absolutely. We are surrounded with institutions that have similar aggressive desires as Colorado State does. We've got a team at the Pac-12 that is aggressive as well in terms of how do they operate a conference in a way that gives their membership some competitive advantage. So we've got a lot of like minds working together, I'm really bullish on where we're headed with this. I think it's going to be a great thing for Colorado State. It's a big step for us. But we also have to go in there with a full head of steam. We've got to go into that Pac-12. We've got to be highly competitive, and we're going to win. We're going to win a lot, but it's important for us.
Any chance we see Wyoming in 26 or 27? Small, very small chance. It's obviously we would love to play them, but both of our non-conference schedules are full right now. It's unlikely, but would certainly love to be able to figure that out. Is it kind of weird to handle scheduling at the moment, just given like you could be playing a 9-game conference schedule, could be an 8-game conference schedule? Yeah,
well, we're actively working through that at the Pac-12 level, as you can probably imagine, and running multiple different scenarios with that. But one of the things that's important to us is how do we get 7 home every time?
Yeah,
and that's a different way of scheduling. I've made some recent remarks around. In this college football playoff era, the scheduling is really, really an art, and we've got to be very, very intentional with who we're playing and when and where to give ourselves the best possible chance of making it through the non-conference season with quality wins, and then focusing on the conference season and winning a championship. So there's a lot of work that we need to do to make sure that we're doing the right things there.
Are you surprised more schools don't try and do it?
More schools do what?
Trying to get the 7 home games. I mean, it just seems so smart.
Well, it's a common thing for a lot of the power institutions to do that. But I would imagine that there's going to be a lot more effort around that, because if you can play in front of your home team for a 7th time, you want to do that.
John, thank you so much for coming on. It's
Absolutely.
Always an
Thanks
honor when I get to talk with you, and we're all really excited about the future of CSU.
Too. So come on out to Fort Collins this fall and winter, folks. All right.
Get up here. All right. We're going to have Jay Norvell on in just a second here. I do got to shout out Branded Bills. Got the new hat finally. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. If you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart, Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom hardware. Start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. They've got a partnership with CSU in their on-campus collection. You can pick up this bad boy. Head to brandedbills.com. Use that code BBDNVR for 15% off of your order. I also want to talk to you about Cake Mortgage. Cake is the business owner's home mortgage partner. What they do is they specialize in non-QM loans. It can be challenging if you are not an employee of a regular company, if you're an independent contractor, a freelancer, something like that. It can be tough to get approved for business loans, to get refinanced, stuff like that, because you have trouble showing that consistent income. When you work with Cake, they can fix that. They can help you reduce your taxable income, keep more money in the business, and it's just such a smoother process. Head to the link in the description to get started. Cake Mortgage Corporation, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. All right. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jay Norvell, live in the DNVR studio for the 3rd time. Really, really appreciative of you, Jay. Thank you so much for coming down here. Did you have a good summer?
Great summer. Yeah, this is my favorite time of year. We're back in the routine of football, practicing, meeting, putting game plans together. It's the funnest time of year for me, for sure.
You know, the energy was great. I missed the last couple days. I was on vacation. Got engaged, which was so a good excuse at least.
Yeah,
Thank
congratulations.
you. But you guys held your first scrimmage, and I always hate missing scrimmages because I'm just dying to see the action. But how did you feel it went?
I was really excited about the scrimmage, and we were very intentional about what we wanted to get done. I've been very pleased with the work we've been getting out of our offense and defense work. We go good on good each day. We try to put our guys in all the different situations. We modified the scrimmage yesterday. We had officials, had an hour meeting with them, really let our players ask questions, let our coaches ask questions about how the Mountain West crews are going to call games this year. So that was very educational. And then we had officials at the scrimmage yesterday. So really typical first scrimmage, a lot of good, hard work against each other, some mistakes with penalties. But we're going into week 2 with able to clean up some things and get more ready to play.
You've got a ton of new faces, both player, personnel-wise. I mean, it's a lot of people that weren't around these first couple years.
Yeah.
A lot were here in the spring, which is a big benefit.
Right.
But how do you feel everything is coming together in terms of connectivity?
You know, that's really a big part of our fall that we're very intentional about as well. You know, it's just the nature of our schedule. We play probably our most talented roster in the first game when we go to Seattle to play Washington. So we have to start fast and play at a high level. You know, all teams are trying to gel their personnel and all these transfers that they get into a football team and get them playing at a high level early in the season, and that's our challenge. We want to be playing our best football from the start, and we're doing everything we can in preparation to help our guys get there.
I mean, obviously, you guys set out to win every game. You know, the goal would be 12-0 every year, conference champions, making the playoff. But you mentioned the importance kind of there of starting hot. And September's, there have been some challenges, a lot of weird factors the last couple of years.
Sure.
But is that something you're really drilling this year of like, let's get it going and not, put ourselves in a hole that we then have to climb out of?
Well, the non-conference schedule is very different than the conference schedule. Yeah. And so I think that's the challenge every year. And then in this transfer NIL period, you have so many new players that don't have experience in your program. And so we are super intentional about all the situations that we're getting in, end-of-game situations, 2-minute situations. So everybody understands what we do in the game in those situations. I spend time every team meeting showing clips from last year's season from different schools and unique situations so we can learn from that. And it's amazing. I showed one the other night at the end of the 2-minute drill, and the exact same thing came up yesterday. And Braden actually was thinking about that video we watched in practice, and he ended up scoring in the 2-minute drill yesterday. So we're trying to serve our players and get them prepared as quickly as possible. The bottom line is we're trying to build the qualities of a college football playoff team. And so physically, defensively, creating havoc, physically running the ball offensively, and having a lot of playmakers. And we have an experienced quarterback. That's an advantage that we have going into year 3. And we really want to build off his experience.
Look, you would take a Torrey Horton back 100 times out of 100, no questions. Yep. But I'm curious in some ways, and obviously hindsight's 2020, but when you go into a year and you have a star like that, I think it's natural to be like, we're going to get this dude the ball. We're going to build the offense around him.
Right.
Then he gets hurt. And now you're relying on other guys.
Right.
Was that a challenge in getting, the offense going? And like, is that kind of something you're looking forward to this year of maybe not being so dependent on this one guy to carry such a load? Yeah,
I think there's a couple different things in answering that question. I think we're in a different era of football, especially being in a group of 5 school that is moving up and ascending into the Pac-12 now. We've had 8 starting receivers go into the portal in the last 3 years. So it's very difficult to build on that position group. We don't have Torrey anymore. And so I think we have to find different ways to win besides just pitching it around to those guys all the time. We've got a very talented receiver group, and they had a great day yesterday and a lot of big plays. Jordan Ross had a great day, Tommy Maher, all those guys. We've got a really good group of tight ends that are good pass receivers. And so we want to develop them and have them be highly effective and make a lot of big plays. And with Braden's experience, we got the whole playbook open now, and he can control that and get the ball to those guys. So I think it challenges coaches every year to fall on their experience, to squeeze the most out of their roster. And so we could look different year to year on how we try to attack people and how we hang our hats. So I think that's the challenge every year of utilizing all the talent that you have. And last year when Torrey got hurt, we felt like we needed to run the ball a little bit more to give ourselves a chance to win. And so we'll look at our team and make those decisions as well this year.
I'm glad you brought up the tight ends. I'm very excited about them, excited about the running backs as well. But one of the things I've talked about pretty consistently is, and I've actually talked about it with you in the past, is the ability to attack the middle of the field. And when you don't have that guy, how much it limits, what you can do from a passing approach. How do you feel about that going into this year, given that you've got Warren and you've got, Rocky Beers, who's maybe even exceeded expectations?
Yeah, Jackson Warren and Rocky Beers have been really good in practice. They're both receivers that can attack the middle of the field. When I was with the Raiders, Al Davis would always ask you one question about the tight ends. Can they run the 7 route? Can they run vertical? And can they run the corner route? And because when your tight end can do that, it really opens up your playbook offensively. 2 years ago, we had Dallin Holker. We were much more wide open. Last year, we didn't have that same threat at tight end. And this year, I think we have 2 of them that can do it. So our best offenses have come when we've had a threat at tight end, and it's trending that way this year.
How big of an addition to the staff is Carson Strong? I know you almost brought him in, a couple years ago, and things kind of fell through. But
sure.
To have a guy who's played at such a high level to be here to mentor Braden.
I think it's great, especially this year with Braden in year 3. Braden's got 2 years under his belt, and it's just great to have a guy that's close to his age that just got done playing this position in this offense. And I think where he can be so helpful is he can talk to Braden about how he should be thinking about this situation and how he can utilize this play and this scheme and how to read it quickly and eliminate the no reads really and get to the meat and potatoes of how he can be productive in our offense. And so he's been incredible. The meetings, I'm in the meetings with the quarterbacks every day, and Carson's insight and his relationship with Braden has been invaluable.
One of the guys I'm really excited to see this year, and even just a couple days of practice, seeing how he moved him around. No, you're not going to give away any secrets because you don't want to give away the game plan, but Taj Bullock's an interesting guy. Could he be like a Taysom Hill, we're going to use him 15 different ways kind of player?
He's a very strong, athletic guy. He's obviously a quarterback. There's some different things we can do to use his skills and abilities, and I've just been so impressed with him. We signed him because he's a playmaker. He can do a lot of things well. He's like a Swiss Army knife, and we're excited on what he can do for us offensively, and we're going to try to use him up as much as we can this year.
Who are some of the young guys? You mentioned, before the season started, how you had the young guys stand up, and you're going to be in bigger roles. Who are some of the people that you're really excited to see go into those bigger roles?
Well, every year in college football, people's roles change, and guys that were young last year will have much bigger roles this year. I think Owen Long is one of those guys. Owen, what an amazing person, character, player. He's got all the qualities we look for in a football player. He's smart. He's tough. He's driven. He's selfless. And I think he's going to be one of the leaders in this league, let alone this team. Jordan Ross on offense. J2 is a young guy, super athletic. He had a big-time scrimmage yesterday, had several big plays. I think he had 3 touchdowns yesterday. A guy that can really be explosive and be a tremendous playmaker for us. Dylan Phelps on defense. We're going to look at him at nickel. He played some corner last year, played some safety, but he's a guy that's big and athletic and can run, that will have a major role for us. Aaron Karras has been a younger lineman for us. Now he's more of our elder statesman and really is going to be responsible for the productivity of that offensive line and give us the edge and the physical nature that, Drew Moss and a Jacob Gardner gave to us last year. So those are and Braden's roles changed. Braden, he's not the young guy anymore. He's not the young skateboard, punk rock kid that he's been the last 2 years. His role has changed. He's got a lot of experience. He's one of the most experienced quarterbacks in our league. And, he's on the Davey O'Brien watch list. And now he needs to take control of our entire playbook and lead this football team to victory.
Jay, I know I got to let you get going here. You guys got to get back up to Fort Collins. Just quickly, is it crazy of me to say the most important addition of the offseason might have been Isaiah Hankins, the kicker?
He's an amazing kicker. I feel, you can just tell guys that are playmakers and experienced guys by their body language. And when he stands back there to kick a field goal, you can just see the calmness that he has, the control that he has, and the confidence that he has in those situations. He was fantastic yesterday, and it's really important to have somebody that can score points for you. And he's kicked game winners. We actually watched his game winner last year. He had a game winner with Baylor and TCU as one of our end-of-game situations. So we're so happy to have him.
I'm excited. Big things in store for CSU this year. Jay, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's always an honor, and I'm looking forward to this season. I'm excited.
Yeah, always look forward to this visit. Thanks, Justin.
All right, guys. Thank you so much to CSU for putting this all together. Before we get out of here, I do got to shout out a couple more partners. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota's built durable legends, destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. They've got 17 models with all-wheel drive, which makes it perfect for Colorado. 16 hybrid vehicles to choose from. Toyota, a proud partner of CSU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Toyota, let's go places. And finally, heading out on your next summer road trip, order at RaisinCanes.com or in the Canes mobile app to satisfy your chicken finger fix in a snap. At Raising Canes, every chicken finger is hand-battered, cooked to order. Every crinkle-cut fry is crispy. Get your order today at Canes and keep the road trip going. Raising Canes chicken fingers. One love. All right, a little bit shorter of a show today, but a lot of fun. Really thankful to CSU for making this happen. Oh man, looks like I get a gift. Oh man, thank you.
Basement up here.
That's right. We need some more Ram representation.
It's like Wayne's World in here. It's like we love it.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the DNVR Rams podcast presented by Branded Bills. Thank you so much for all of the kind messages and support regarding my engagement. I'm always overwhelmed by the community support that you guys show us. Head to brandedbills.com. Use that code BBDNVR for 15% off your first order. Much love, y'all. Always proud to be. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.